Hi friends. Hopefully, I don't know how this lighting is gonna be because we're in a different space right now. I thought it would be nice. And I have Bogo here. He's asleep in the cat bed, so maybe that'll keep him from jumping all over like last time. Yeah, so I don't know. There we go. Maybe it's a little better. Okay. Hopefully the sound is not too loud. Everyone is playing video games today. Coming at you without any makeup because it's 3 in the afternoon and I did not feel like putting any on, but I also needed to get this video done. So this is what we're working with today, and the lighting is already changing. Anyway, so yeah, I have a library slash like little like thrifted slash books that I bought recently. It's not a lot on the end that I bought, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the books that I bought. One of them has not come in yet. I'm waiting on it. It's called Sunburn. It's like a sapphic romance book. It hasn't come in yet. I am waiting for that one. So the next one I have is another sapphic story. It's Perfume and Pain by Anna Dorn. A canceled writer gets back into a writing group that she had started before she got published, and tries to get back into writing, but ends up in a whole bunch of side relationships that like distract her from it. And it seems like not even her love for perfume is going to help her get back into her writing. And it seems like we're gonna go through the story of her trying to get back in her writing, but maybe she's gonna be too distracted by her love for relationships. So I'm very interested to see how this is. This is one I had to buy because unfortunately the state I live in did not have it in any of the libraries in the county I live in. So it's unfortunate that I had to buy it instead of checking it out from the library, but that's what you do. So this next one is called The Dark Tower by Stephen King. I thrifted this book. I heard that it kind of intertwines into his whole like universe that he's written. A lot of his books actually like have parts, if you pay really close attention, they refer to like pieces. They have Easter eggs from all of his other writings, and so this is one that I've heard is a really good place to like start with, and it kind of entails like a lot of his other things, and it helps to kind of like tie everything together. I think it's the beginning of a series. I have not seen, like it says that it's a motion picture now. I haven't seen it, but I'm super interested in reading it. I'm not really like a huge TV person, so more than likely I probably won't ever see it. But supposedly we're following some characters. It seems like it's a modern day like cowboy kind of thing, except instead of like in a western setting, it's in a modern setting. Someone called it the gunslinger, and this world is almost maybe like in a post-apocalyptic or some sort of apocalyptic world. And yeah, the description doesn't really say very much, so yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one. This next one I also thrifted. It's called To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I know that everyone knows it. It's one that I've wanted to read forever, and I just never got around to it. And I think it's especially important in this time to be reading books like this. I know in the state that I live in, it is one that is consistently banned by people because of low reading comprehension and fear. So it's one that is super important to be reading right now. And it deals with themes of racism and cruelty and things like that. And I think that it's really important to read right now, and that everyone should be reading it. And I think that you should have a copy in your home, especially with the attacks on libraries, not only in schools, but publicly as well. So this is one that I picked up so that I can read, and then I can have a copy of my own. This next one is a sequel to one that I've already read. This is A Venom Dark and Sweet by Judy Allen. I really enjoyed the first book in this series, which is Magic Steeped in Poison. The main character is going with a group of other people through the kingdom to try and find the cause of a certain thing that is harming people, and also to get back to help like form the rightful heir to the throne in this kingdom. And I think the first one was beautifully written, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I did hear that see from reviews that a lot of people were disappointed with this one, and that the first one was in their opinions better, so we'll see how this one fares. Now we're moving on to the books that I got from the library. The first one I actually already read, which is why I'm decided to do the haul today instead of waiting until I had a day where I felt like doing my makeup and being presentable, because I read really quickly and I tend to just like fly through books. So this first one is called This first one is Dream Count by, oh, I'm so sorry, Chimamanda Adichie. I'm probably saying that so wrong. It's about 3 Nigerian women navigating love and like the choices that they made through life, and dealing with everything going on in their home country and where they live in the States, particularly set in the time during the pandemic. I give it a 3-star out of 5 stars. I thought there's a lot of good information in here as far as like what happens outside of the US, and I don't know that it's I don't know that it's one that I would pick up as your first time reading it. I've heard that a lot of her other works are better. A lot of people said that they preferred her other works over this one, and maybe that's also part of it. Her works are translated, so that also plays a point into it. So you know, we don't always get all of the meanings right with the translation. So anyway, that's Dream Count. So this next one is we went to like a little like Santa thing at the library with the kids, and I picked this one up for us, and we actually get to keep it. They were giving away books for the kids, and it's The Little Red Hen by Paul Galdone. It's one that my grandmother used to read to me, my abuela, when I was little, and I haven't seen it like anywhere since I was little, and I had to get it for my kids. I think it's so sweet. It's about this little hen that does all the work all day long, even though her friends are there, and they all laze about. And so by the end of the day, she makes this big pie, because all the work that they were doing was to make this big pie, and they all smell it. And she says, no, you guys didn't do any of the work. So she eats a whole pie, and then afterwards they learn. And so they're like, from now on, we're gonna help you do it. So yeah, that's that one. The next book is On Critical Race Theory, Why It Matters and Why You Should Care by Victor Ray. Basically, it's just about like the centrality of race and racism in the US and American history and slavery. My only concern with this book is the fact that the author is a white man. It does say that he draws from radical thinking from Ida B. Wells, W.E.B. Du Bois, Dr. Martin Luther King, which I guess is good. All his sources are good. However, again, it is a white man, so I don't know if he necessarily is going to have all of the information from the standpoint of someone who actually deals with this, if that makes sense. So I'm looking forward to reading it, but I'm going to be very careful and discerning as I read through it, just because it is not written by a person of color, and just because like there's certain things that as white people we don't go through, and we maybe can't understand quite as well. So anyway, I'm looking forward to reading this one. Hopefully it's written well. We'll see. All right, this next one is We Do Not Part by Han Kang. Says that she's also the author of The Vegetarian, which is another one that I do want to read, but I didn't get that one this time around. I didn't even know if any of the libraries in this county have that one. We'll see. There's a lot of books that they don't have because unfortunately the state hates books and education. But it's a story between two friends. One friend gets sick and she's like, hey, come see me. Also, please go check on this white bird in my home. Please go like check on it. But also like the weather is terrible and it's snowing and this friend doesn't know like if they're gonna make it. And I don't know, like from what the description said, it seemed like there's like a danger, or maybe it's like a mental danger. I don't know. We'll have to see. But as far as I know, that's what the story is about. Okay. The next one is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. It's about a legendary woman knight, which is super exciting. And it is not a romantasy, which is also super exciting. I am not a fan of romantasy, unfortunately. If that is what you're looking for in recommendations, I am not the one. There are other channels for that. This is for me. I'm not someone who reads that, unfortunately, but I've heard really, really good things about this. I love fantasy stories that are just all about the adventure and the friendship and life and things like that, and it seems like this one is not about the romance. So I'm very excited about this because I miss pure adventure fantasy stories. This next one is like a little like heavier. It is chunky. It's a huge book. It's called The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir, I think is how you pronounce it. It is about the otherness of women and the inequality of women. I'm looking forward to reading this, even though I personally, you know, for me, I go either she or they. It doesn't matter to me really, but that's how I identify for that. I'm looking forward to, because physically I am a woman and I experience a lot of issues dealing with that, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And I have a daughter, so anytime I can learn and I have the opportunity to learn more and I can grow, I'm looking forward to that. So I'm definitely looking for this. Is the complete and unabridged version, so it's definitely chunky and like the writing is super tiny, so there's a lot in here. The next one is 1,000 Mornings by Mary Oliver. It is a set of poems based on nature and animals. You can see I started reading it. It's kind of short. So far it seems like just musings on like when she was out like in the cabin by the water, and just whatever she was thinking while she was sitting there and she had her notebook, what she was writing. So far they remind me of just like when you're practicing slow living, like the thoughts that you have day to day. So it's just like a nice little peaceful poetry collection. This next book is called The Book of Goose by Yoon Lee. So far from the description, it seems like it's a book about friendship. One of the girls finds out that her other friend is passed, and just how she deals with that, and the things from the past, and we kind of like go through their story and learn about that, and I'm super excited about that. For me, I really enjoy stories of friendship. I think friendship is one of the most like deep relationships you can have. Like love relationship, intimacy, companionship, like that is important and can be deep, but I think friendships are really deep and important and lasting in life, even more than intimate relationships. And so I'm always interested in stories like this. This next one is called Near the Bone by Christina Henry. It seems like it is about a couple that lives alone in the mountains, and it seems like the husband, I don't know, he seems suspicious, like he might either be abusive or there might be something wrong with him, I don't know, but she like basically is like, I can't make him upset, I have to keep him happy. And she finds something dead one day near their home, and she's like, oh, he can't see this. So so far, that's all I know about this. It has a note here from Paul Tremblay, which if you've read, I think it's, oh gosh, he wrote a horror novel too, and I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But, so this is also one of those kind of horror novels as well, and you can see the pages are all red, so this one is probably going to be one that I get through really quickly. This next one is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I think I've only read like a few other ones by her. They're quite interesting. I know that she writes a lot of magical realism books, and this one is about 3 different women in 3 different time periods, all buried within the same ground, and the description says, and all of them grow teeth. So it sounds very interesting, very foreboding. This is a large print because sometimes when I get books in this county, the only versions they have are large print. I guess it's their way of keeping like young people from reading things they shouldn't, because I guess they think that young people are not gonna like want to read large print books. I'm sorry if I harp on this issue a lot, but I think it's ridiculous. And honestly, it is a little ridiculous. Reading is important. And if you're gonna ban a book, or try to, it better be for a good reason. And I tell you right now, there's no good reasons. So. Our next book is Ain't I Woman? Black Women and Feminism by Bell Hooks. I'm always trying to learn more and grow as a person, and so I'm very interested in learning this and hopefully to be a better friend, better family member, better companion person, just human being in general, especially to my peers and friends of color. And so this one I'm looking forward to learning, because it examines like the impact of sexism on Black women during slavery and throughout history, especially in the US, where there has been so much cruelty towards people of color, and there still is. It hasn't ended, and there still is, and it really needs to change. So I'm looking forward to reading this and hopefully learning and growing more as a person. And along those lines, we have another one called Well Read Black Girl by Gloria Edom, which this one is a collection of stories, or essays, sorry, by Black women writers, and what they go through and how important it is to have literature and media that portrays everyone. Skin colors, backgrounds, life stories, everything, which is super important. So I'm really excited to dive into this one. So this next one is Piglet by Lottie Hazel. This is about an upcoming cookbook editor. She has like a wonderful life, an amazing life, and her Piglet is her like nickname, just that never left her since childhood. She has like an amazing, attractive, wonderful fiance named Kit, and one day makes a confession of betrayal, and it just kind of sends her spiraling basically, and she makes a whole bunch of decisions, and it's kind of like a story about what confessions like that can do and send us into, and we realize that maybe the things that we thought we wanted are not actually what we wanted. And I've heard a lot of discussion around this, so I'm super excited to read this and get into it. We'll see. This next one is Stag Dance by Tori Peters. It is a collection of 3 stories. I've heard some crazy stuff about it. Something you'll learn about me is I do enjoy collection books. I do enjoy essays and collection stories, and just I really enjoy like books that are like multiple stories in one. I think it's really fun. I think that they get a lot of hate a lot of the time because like you're not always gonna get like amazing stories. Like sometimes you'll get a few misses and then like a few that you love, but I always I'm someone who really loves collection works, and so I'm super excited to read these. So this one I think is either turned into or is turning into a show. I'm not sure. I am not a huge science fiction person, so we'll see what I think about this. I think this is maybe like the third science fiction book this year that I'll have read. It's called Any Bot by Sierra Greer, and basically this robot was created, just like an AI, created to be this like perfect girlfriend for this guy, and she does everything perfectly, but the more that she learns and the more that she becomes like a real person, like a real woman, the less perfect she is. The more that she becomes like cognitive of like what a real woman does, the more that she thinks, well, do I really want to do this? And it seems like that starts to cause problems. So I'm very interested, because if the robots don't want them, who knows? But it seems like, because I have seen clips, I think, maybe of this or something like this online. So we'll see. I'm super interested in reading this. The next one is called Every Drop is a Man's Nightmare by Megan Kakimoto. Sorry if I said that wrong. And it's a collection of stories, again, about Hawaiian and Japanese women going through a modern landscape, dealing with the outcomes of colonization in their areas, and keeping the culture of the ancestors of their Hawaiian ancestors and Japanese ancestors within their lives. And so I'm super excited to read this one. Someone Like Us by Dina Mengesu is about a promising journalist who decides to abandon his career and marry a photographer, but then later on their relationship kind of falls and kind of comes into a rough spot. So he decides to return home to kind of recoup and kind of figure out what to do to try to keep their relationship together, only to find out that his dad, who on the outside seems like a very charismatic person, is dead in their garage. And so he has to unwind all these things that he thought that he knew about his family, while trying to figure out his own family. So looking forward to this. Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by Clay McLeod Chapman. I've heard some mixed reviews on this one, but I'm interested in reading it because it's about a person who is losing their parents to the right consistently, and it seems like a very good commentary story to what is happening today, and just all of the insanity that is happening, I think, for a lot of people, and the feeling of yelling into a void, and trying to talk to someone who's turning into a wall right in front of you. And so it seems like this story is like kind of a commentary on what is happening right now in the US, for a lot of people, and in horror story form. And so I'm super excited to read this. I've heard a lot of good and bad things about it, so we'll see. This next one is called You Are Here by David Nichols. Two people have had some major things happen in their lives, and it feels like their lives are falling apart, and so they decide to go on a hike and try to figure their lives out. The idea is to like find yourself, you have to get lost, and it seems like kind of like a cozy book, something to kind of just relax into. So I'm very interested in reading this one. It seems like it might be a little sad, but also kind of healing, and that I think those are always really good ones. And And our last book is called The Shortest Day by Wendy Pfeiffer. It is a book about celebrating the winter solstice. I got this to read to my kids. Obviously the winter solstice just happened, so in part of our school lessons we always learn about the solstice and how the seasons work and change through the years, and just how the weather changes and things like that. And so that's one of the books that I got to read to them to kind of integrate into our homeschool lessons and to learn. I'm a homeschool mom, so I always like to, whenever the solstices come around, try to like have a study ready for the kids to like kind of learn. Unfortunately, this time around the solstice fell on their school break, so we just have some stories to read at bedtime to try to like keep them using their brains at least like a little bit, so it's not just all over the place. But anyway, hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully the background noise is not too crazy and the lighting is not too insane. There's nothing I can do about my face, sorry. But yeah, that's our library hauls, and that's the books that I bought, except for the one that's still has to come in. Yeah, fight against any book bans going on if you can, especially if you're in the same state as me or in any of the other ones dealing with major book bans right now. Super important. If you're a writer, keep writing. Don't let anyone tell you to stop. Your art's important right now. Do what you can. Be a good person. You're important. You have value. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you soon.